Welcome into the Paul Farrington Show. Paul joined by Robert, Ziggy, Ziegler. Ziggy, we're starting to get used to these late night records. They're kind of nice. It's a little more.
No, we're not starting to get used to them. This is terrible.
Ziggy needs to get up in like 5 hours to get ready for teaching. I see on sports media, on the other side of things for me, I get to sleep in a little bit. But on these records, I do like they're a little less stressful. The 1:00 games at my house, there's always a gazillion people over trying to watch 10 different things at once. This feels a little bit more my speed. Like, all right, let's talk some football in a controlled manner here. So the Sunday night game, the Texans win 19-13 over the Chicago Bears. Really anticipated game for this show. Obviously, we have the Bears in the NFC North. Jack and his whole Caleb Williams predictions have been a big talking point of the offseason. And then on the other side, the Houston Texans, the young Houston Texans, CJ Stroud, Nico Collins, Tank Dell. We've seemed to have a pretty strong Texans following on the show, so we were really looking forward to this one. And yeah, Ziggy and I just said before we started, a pretty sloppy game here. Between the two teams, 21 total penalties and 12 penalties for 115 yards for the Texans, 9 for 60 for the Bears. Just you heard Tirico say it. If the Texans want to be the Super Bowl contender that we all believe they are, got to clean that up a little bit. But there are a couple big takeaways from the night. We'll start with Chicago. And, Jack continues to be proven right by a lot of his predictions early on. Ziggy will, I'm sure, counter that in a second here. But Caleb Williams goes 27 for 37, 174 yards, 2 interceptions. He really looks like a rookie just from the sacks. I mean, a lot of hits tonight, way too many hits tonight. Inaccurate. I didn't like the body language of DJ Moore late in the game. He just seemed fed up. The entire Bears offense seemed done with it. So what were your impressions in Caleb in start number 2?
Quarterbacks missing throws, offensive coordinators calling bad plays. The wide receiver one can't stand being on the team. The defense is playing good enough to keep them in the game, so they only need one drive to win. Did anything change for the Chicago Bears from last year? No, I'm kidding, obviously. I mean, it's a tough game, and there's no doubt about it. But, Caleb Williams is a rookie quarterback. He's playing behind a bad offensive line. It's inevitable that there will be some difficulty adjusting to the NFL. We still see him make some of the plays where you say, all right, I can see why the team was high on him. And it's just so early in his career, right? People really, I think the hype machine got out of control in the offseason. There were a lot of people saying this Bears team, they're a real contender in the NFC. Caleb Williams is going to play lights out. And that might have been a possibility. But even many quarterbacks who go on to be very successful in the NFL struggle in their first few games. And the Bears are not making it any easier on him.
No, not at all. The offensive line, that was the thing we continuously talked about over the offseason, was the Bears' offensive line needs to show up for him to have a chance. And tonight, 7 sacks. How many hits? 9. What are we looking at here? QB hits for the Texans in this one. I'm seeing 9 sacks. I need to find the QB hits, but Caleb
it was 7 sacks.
7 sacks. Okay, sure. He was just getting crushed the entire game. You saw him limping off the field at the end. No time to throw. I mean, they were even on 4 or 5 man rushes, just getting tremendous pressure on Caleb. And Caleb needs to be a little quicker. I think a lot of his decision making has been stalled over the first 2 weeks. He just seems indecisive and not the same. Obviously, not the same quarterback that we saw when he was at USC. And it'll get better for the Bears. I think you're totally right when you say that. Maybe the media blew this up a little bit too much. And it's expected, with the Bears, with the Jets, some people really got on them. The Packers didn't look as good as a lot of people thought against the Eagles in some ways. There's a lot of teams. The Lions lost today. They've been a huge hype machine team. Sometimes it takes a little while to get adjusted. And similar to college football, I'll make the comparison here. When Notre Dame lost to Northern Illinois, Ziggy, not sorry to bring that up again, but when Notre Dame lost that game, a lot of people, including myself, are immediately like done with the college football playoff. You lose to Northern Illinois, you should not be in the playoff. But the way that teams are in November and December football, very, very different from when you look back. Football time feels like an eternity from November to September when you're finally playing in those later season games. If Chicago gets going in a few weeks here, people are going to forget about this in a second. Football, you forget a week later. So we're on start number 2. Let's relax for a second. It doesn't look good right now, but let's relax.
Yeah, the way DJ Moore is approaching things, I don't know him personally, I don't know his psychology, but it seems to me like even within the Bears building, it's tough to be on a team that's a perennial loser. It just is.
Mhm.
He signed that contract extension this offseason. I think there was a lot of hope, even internally, that things would turn around very quickly. And that can't be helped by the fact that you're playing the team that did turn things around very quickly. Overnight, right? The Texans went from bottom feeder to playoff winning team.
Yep.
It
Super
doesn't
Bowl.
work like that most
Super
of the
Bowl
time.
contending team.
Yeah, they won a playoff game in their rookie quarterback's first year, and now their sights are set on the Super Bowl.
I mean,
That's not how it happens most of the time.
who are the teams right now over the past 2 years with a new quarterback taking over? We have the Patriots will be no one's playing right now. The Broncos, that's going to be a work in progress. The Texans are the ones who turned it around. The Titans still struggling. They're 0-2. The Colts 0-2 right now. I like the way Jay Daniels looks, but that's also going to take some time. You are seeing that the anomaly here are the Texans. The other one that you can look at in a different light maybe is the Packers because they kind of followed that too. But Jordan Love is not the
he'd
same.
been around for a while. That's a different story. And
Yeah.
Jordan Love, let's not forget, I wasn't this bad, but there were some, bad game winning drives, like failures to win, some bad throws. Like
They were 2-5. Green Bay was 2-5 last season. Everybody said Jordan Love, including us at one point, said Jordan Love might be losing his job this offseason as they're 2-5 looking miserable. I mean, he kept throwing interceptions on game-winning drive attempts. Who did that look like? A little bit like Caleb tonight with it, just a horrible on game-winning drive attempts. And all of a sudden it clicked. And now he's, the second highest paid quarterback in the NFL. You can't overreact to things. And the NFL is such an easy sport to look at because of this limited number of games. It's easy to get caught up in the moment, but we'll see what happens there with the Bears. On the Texans side of things, it was a sloppy one. I was laughing where on that screen pass to Stephon Diggs at the very end of the game before they punted, I didn't see who it was on the Bears, came shooting through the gap on the screen pass. And if he had picked that off a la Van Ginkel against the Giants the other day,
yet another defense special teams win for the Bears.
I was thinking all of a sudden it would have been another how the hell did they win this game? Even when they were driving at the end, how did they have an opportunity to win this game when Houston is fumbling into the end zone, things like that. But the Texans overall, CJ Stroud, he goes 23 for 36, 260 yards, a touchdown. CJ Stroud is very, very quickly entering that, is he the fifth best quarterback in the NFL conversation? He might even be there right now. Most people would say Mahomes, Burrow, Lamar, and Josh Allen have separated themselves. But when you talk about that fifth best quarterback in the NFL, Justin Herbert's going to be brought up. I think CJ Stroud is now there. I don't know how many people you really would take ahead of him at this point. He's really proving it right now. The last year was no fluke. This guy, he's here for the long haul. I think Houston's got a winner. I've been impressed with him all season. And Nico Collins is really stepping up as a wide receiver one. He's crushing my fantasy team tonight. But I was super impressed with the Houston offense, even though they were limited.
Yeah, if you were tracking what guys like Matt Harmon were saying this offseason, everybody who was in the know was predicting that even with Stephon Diggs being added, this would be the Nico Collins breakout year. Not that last year wasn't, but this would be the year he'd really ascend. And we're certainly seeing that. Everyone in the Texans building knows that he's the alpha dog. He is the best receiver on that team. It seems like by a fair mile. Yeah.
It doesn't look close right now.
And the running game was less good this week. They didn't have the pleasure of playing the Colts defense. Joe Mixon got hurt early in the game and had to sit a lot of it out. But yeah, CJ Stroud, when it comes down to it, he can execute for the most part. It was easy to feel comfortable playing a little bit more conservatively because you were punting the ball to Caleb Williams and the Bears offense, which was not accomplishing very much. So I still feel like we haven't gotten to see CJ Stroud at his best. But next week he's going to have to bring it when he heads to Minnesota.
Dude, that's going to be a lot of fun next week. This Vikings defense, for all the jokes we make about the Vikings being being a team that always falls apart this season through 2 games, that defense, Brian Flores, I was just talking to my dad about this. He's got to be gone after this year. He's got to get another opportunity as a head coach somewhere because what he's doing with this defense is awesome. And and they're going to get after Stroud. It's going to be a great game. But no, you're right. With Joe Mixon sidelined for a lot of this, the run game was lacking. It never felt that close in the second half to me, even when Chicago had opportunities to come back and tie or take the lead. It always felt like Houston was just the better team tonight. That, again, the fumble by Cam Akers really masked what was kind of a dominant Houston win.
And the penalties.
Goodness,
115 penalty yards. That's unacceptable.
Yeah, I thought Houston, the defense, the pressure they got tonight was just, Danielle Hunter was all over the place. Will Anderson made a couple big plays. Houston was hitting, I thought a few times, some dirty hits here, but that defense was flying around and they were angry tonight. It's 7 sacks, right? That's why I said they had 3 guys with 10 or more tackles. And if the defense shows up like that in Houston, the offense should be there all season. It's Texans fans are in store for just a really, really fun season.
Yeah, we fell victim to this too. But the headlines tomorrow, all of them will say, look how bad Caleb Williams was. He's struggling. He's no good. Not much attention will be paid to the fact that 6 players on the Houston Texans got a sack in this game. The defense looks legit.
It looks awesome. And there are a lot of weapons on the Bears offense. For even though Caleb has struggled against the Titans and the Texans now, there are a lot of guys who can hurt you in that Bears offense. And to shut them down the way they did, essentially ineffective most of the game. I'm really excited for what Houston's going to do. And again, to kind of cap off this, CJ Stroud is just so impressive. And they talked about, even on the broadcast, you never would have seen this coming the way it has, how quickly and how, profound it's been from this time at Ohio State. The only glimpse you really got of that was the Georgia game in the playoffs. And he's kind of just been great ever since then.
Yeah, CJ Stroud has looked incredible, and this team feels like one of the more complete teams in the AFC, setting aside the fact they're the only team in their division that has a win. You've got CJ Stroud on offense. You've got a running game that should get better, and you've got Nico Collins. On defense, you've got a really excellent young secondary, right? Derek Stingley and rookie Kamari Lassiter both getting important interceptions in this game. 6 people getting sacks. Just all around, this seems like one of the scariest teams in the AFC. If they can continue to operate at this level, those Super Bowl dreams could be a reality.
Yeah, we're going to find out a lot about Houston coming up here. Just looking ahead to their schedule, they've got, in the next 5 weeks, they got Vikings, Jaguars, Bills, Patriots, Packers. So, we'll see the Vikings. Well, I'm still not ready to buy in completely with the Vikings, truthfully. I'm like, it just feels too good to be true. But that Bills game, they play the Bills at home. They play the Ravens at home. They play the Chiefs later in the year. The big tests for the Texans will come at some point this year. We'll get an idea of just how good this Houston team is. But I'm actually at the point, after watching 2 weeks of AFC South football, I'm ready to basically wrap it up. Like the Texans are going to win this division. The Titans are okay. The Colts have their moments. The Jaguars look like a dumpster fire. I'm ready, and it's crazy in week 2, but I'm saying, like, this is clearly the best team in the division. For me now, if I were a Texans fan, it's about, hey, how are we going to do against the big dogs that can get us home field advantage? That's what I'm saying. That's my overreaction.
Both of these games, both the Colts game and the Bears game, it's felt like the Texans haven't been at their best. Against the Colts, it was if you could just give up a fewer giant plays. Against the Bears, it was if we can just clean up the execution a little bit.
Just put them on.
And stuff like that, those kinds of mistakes are the kinds of things that you can count on getting better. The things that won't magically get better, having an elite quarterback, having an alpha wide receiver, having a defensive line that can consistently generate pressure, they've got all those pieces in place. So now it's not about floor anymore. It's about ceiling.
Completely agree. And yeah, next week's going to be a lot of fun. Texans, Vikings, a great test for our team, a great test for Houston. I can't wait to get into the predictions. We'll have coming up over the course of this week. We'll do those joint power rankings again. That was one of the favorite segments that I've ever done on this show with you guys, was that joint power
truly
rankings.
inspired.
So we'll have that coming out later this week. We'll get back into game picks for week 3. It's going to be an awesome, fun time going over the week 2 games, and we still have more. We still have Eagles and Falcons, although we won't be reacting to that. These Sundays, man, they take a lot out of you quickly during the season. So we appreciate everyone who checked out all of our videos. Please go over, to the channel, like, comment, and subscribe. You could see our week 2 full reaction. You could see some individual game breakouts are there as well. And if you're having fun, leave a comment, leave a mailbag question. We'll put that out in just a few minutes here. We can't wait to keep going with this season. We appreciate it. And Ziggy, any final words?
Not really. You said, usually I have to remind you to go out and give the little sales pitch. You did that successfully this time. And we'll be back tomorrow for a bigger reaction, and it'll all be good.
Great. We'll see you guys then. Thanks for listening.